Welcome, TheoPsychers. I'm so excited to be able to introduce to you Bill Newsome from Stanford University. Bill's a professor of neurobiology. He is director of the WUSI Neurosciences Institute. And this is a guy who has done some really important fundamental research in helping us understand the brain structures, the neuroscience behind both our visual perception system and certain forms of decision making. And I first heard him speak actually when he was giving an address to the American Scientific Affiliation. So he was speaking to a general audience of people interested in faith science kinds of issues, and he brought the house down. I mean, really sort of gave us some really exciting things to think about and talk about. And a fun little fact I noticed by reading over some of his background information is he may be the only person I've met who has won one of the Minerva Foundation's Golden Brain Award. Now, I'm not sure if that's because his brain is made of gold, but it sure seems like it sometimes. So, oh, and there it is. Excellent. It's true. It is true. He does have a golden brain. Bill, thanks so much for speaking with us. But, one of the things that I want to ask you is why in the world would a busy guy like you agree to talk to people like us, a ragtag bunch of theologians and psychologists?
Well, the straightforward answer is that I've been interested in this intersection of science and faith and psychology since I was, probably an undergrad or even a high school student to some extent. And obviously my career path took me toward science, which has consumed most of my energy and intellectual cycles over the ensuing 5 decades. But this has always remained a really interesting intersection for me, because I think from early in my life, I had a deep conviction that, I have one brain up here, and that brain is responsible for the things that we can do in science labs. And it's also responsible for the experiences I have in a church pew or in a church prayer group. And somehow studying that brain might be one of the best paths toward ultimately unifying those multiple experiences. And so it's something that I've always been interested in. I was actually very pleased to get Justin's invitation to participate in this TheoPsych workshop this summer. My only regret is not being able to be there, all of us in person, because there's just something about that embodiment that is really special. But I hope to really develop some relationships here over the next 2-3 days that will be beneficial to all of us and lead to some new thinking and feeling among all of us, and look forward to meeting some of you in person down the line as the years go by.
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, we're excited too. And we've certainly tried to design the program to maximize the opportunity for you to interact with numerous people in real time. But we're having to pre-record these for now. And while we're in these pre-recorded sessions, or maybe in the others, it looks like right now you're in an office of a fairly standard sort. Is that your way of dealing with COVID pressures and the distractions of life, or where will you be broadcasting from?
It's in my office here at Stanford. It's actually a fairly new office. I've been director of the WUSI Neurosciences Institute for 7 years now, and part of that 7 years was spent in conceiving and designing and raising money for and constructing and then occupying a new neurosciences building here at Stanford. And we had a beautiful dedication ceremony for the new building, February 11th. I had just moved into my new office. I haven't even unpacked boxes of books yet that are lying around here. And my first official act after moving into this building was to promptly shut it down because of COVID.
Ouch,
yeah, ouch,
brutal.
ouch is right. Never in 100 years would I have guessed that, that's the way, that would be the first thing I did. That was very painful for all of us, faculty and students and postdocs were really eager to get going and start a really healthy interdisciplinary scientific culture in this building. And then just to have to put it on pause and stop all the experiments and put cell lines into the deep freeze and, and all the bureaucracy that goes along with it, making sure, establishing new rules for the shelter in place and essential personnel who can come in. And now we're gradually opening up again. But as all of you know who are reading the newspapers, the numbers on COVID coming out of the state of California right now they're not happy numbers. And we always have to be prepared to go back to an earlier stage at any point. So there's a lot of administrative overload here that certainly is keeping me busy. On the side, I've managed to get 4 scientific papers turned around and resubmitted to journals or submitted for the first time to journals. One of them was just accepted actually last week.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah, so I'm managing to keep my thumb in on the side, but it's been a somewhat stressful, busy period. But I think all in all, I count myself extremely fortunate. If you're going to shelter in place, I have a nice house up in the hills to shelter in place in. My wife and I both have jobs and an income, and we're just so blessed in comparison with the suffering that's going on in so many quarters. So we're thankful for our blessings, and we are living in faith and with our minds and with our hearts as fully as we can during this period.
Well, we're thankful that you're taking the time to share some of your gifts with us too. So thanks, Bill. We look forward to listening to your lectures and the discussions that follow.
Yeah, and for the students, for the TheoPsychers out there, when Justin exclaimed during his introduction, there really is a golden brain. Here it is. This was a golden brain award. And this thing is heavy. You can do serious damage to someone's head with this thing.
And it looks like it's nearly full size. Just a little small.
It's about a third. Yeah, you're saying it's full size for me. Is that what you're saying?
If the brain fits.